In the last video, we were able to set up our verification required page, and the UI looks like this, where the user is redirected to if they try to recreate an account on an email that already has an existing account. Okay, so whenever the user click this, a new verification email is supposed to be resent to their provided email address. Okay, and after the verification email is sent successfully, then they will be redirected to the sign in page. All right, but what we did in our last video was to just resend a dummy response from our server. So in this video, we'll be actually processing the process of resending the verification mail to the user's provided email address. Okay, so as always, the first thing we'll be doing is to verify our user's email address. So we'll be doing the verification using Zod. So it's going to return a success attribute and a data, which we are going to rename to let's call it validated email. Okay, so now we are going to import Z from Zod. All right, and then we're going to say this is supposed to be of data type string, and it's supposed to be a valid email address. Okay, now we are going to pass the provided email. Okay, now first off, let's check if the validation is successful. So I'm going to say if dot success is not true. All right, this is supposed to be a comma, not a colon. Right, so if dot success is not true, then we are going to be returning a false response to our user. So let's call this success. Okay, it's going to be false. All right, and the message is going to be invalid email address. All right, so that's going to do for that part. So if the email is valid, then we need to check our database if there is an existing user with that email. Since we'll be checking our database, we'll be making a synchronous call, so we need to use the try catch statement. All right, so the first thing we are going to do is to check our database. So we are going to call this rows, and we are going to name it to users. Okay, so we need to await, and then we need to import our database pool. All right, since in this server action will not be performing any database transaction, so rather than getting a dedicated connection from the pool, we just use any available connection. All right, so we'll not be getting any dedicated connection, we just use any available connection directly. So rather than saying pool.client, pool.connect, I mean just say pool.query. Okay, so that's just going to use any available connection that is ready for operation. There is no connection, then a new connection will be established to a database. All right, this is supposed to be email verified. Okay, that is because I'm talking and typing at the same time. From users table where the user's email is equal to $1, right? We are going to be providing the email. Okay, that is going to be a validated email. So that's going to select the user's ID and email verified column from the user's table where the email is the same as the provided email address. Okay, and if you want this, if you want these users to be type safe, all right, if you need type checking whenever you are working with that, you can just provide the structure of the expected data type, which is going to be an object. Okay, and the ID is going to be of data type number. All right, and the email verified is going to be of data type boolean verified. I hope my verified is correct. Select ID from this. Okay, so that query is correct. Now that is going to get the user from the database if there is a user with that email address. Now we need to check if there is an actual user with that email address. So I'm going to say if users.length equals 0. If the length is equal to 0, then we are going to be returning an error response back to the caller of our server action that there is no user with this email. Okay, so the success is going to be false. All right, and message message is going to be user not found. Okay, it's going to do for that. So if our logic gets beyond that, that means there is an existing user with that email. Okay, so we're going to say user is going to be users. Okay, we'll be getting the first object from the users array. Okay, then we need to check if the email has been verified. Okay, so I'm going to say user dot email verified. We have this type suggestion because we provided this structure. If we did not provided this, that means we will not be having this type suggestion. Okay, so if the user's email has already been verified, then there is no need to resend another verification email. Okay, so here we are going to be returning an error response back to the user. Okay, so we're going to say success is false. All right, false, and message is going to be email is already verified, or you can say account is already verified. Okay, whatever grammar you want to use there. Okay, so we're going to say please sign in rather than trying to re-verify your account. And if our logic gets beyond that, that means the user's email is actually not verified. Okay, so we're going to generate a verification token. We'll be using a random bytes from crypto to generate 64 random bytes. All right, then we're going to convert that to string. Okay, using the hexadecimal representation. All right, so we can leave it at that, and we can also normalize it. Okay, so if you like, you can leave it at this point, and if you like, you can normalize it. But to be consistent with our previous operations, we can just leave it unnormalized. All right, so after creating the token, now we need to create an entry into our database. Okay, so we are going to have pool.query. We are just going to use query directly because we are not doing any transaction, so we can just use any available database connection or create a new database connection if there is no available database connection. All right, so we are inserting an entry into the email verifications table. Insert into email verifications. Right, so what columns do we want to insert values into? We want to insert into users ID, the email, the token, the expires at column, expires at. All right, so we need to provide the values we want to insert into them. Okay, the user ID, providing that as a parameter, the email as a parameter, the token as a parameter, and the expires at, that's the expiry time, is going to be our current time, right, plus 15 minutes interval. We're going to have interval, and then we have a 15 minutes. Okay, all right, so this is going to insert a new entry into our database. But mind you, there is the possibility of conflict when we are trying to insert this entry into the database, because if you can remember, when the user was trying to sign up, we created an entry into the email verifications table. So if the entry is still in the email verifications table and we are trying to insert a new entry with the same user ID and email, then that is going to create conflict because the user ID should be unique and the email should be unique. So when we are trying to insert this and a conflict occur, then we need to handle that conflict. All right, so we are going to say on conflict. Okay, so if there is a conflict when we are trying to insert this entry, if there is a conflict on the user ID column, you can either use your user ID or the email column as your reference point because both columns are unique. So if there is a conflict on the user ID column, all right, then rather than inserting, we are going to be doing update instead. Okay, so we're going to say do update. So what columns do we want to update? We want to update the token column. All right, so we're going to say token is going to be excluded dot token. All right, and I need to put a comma there, and we also need to update the expires at column because the user ID and the email does not change, so only the token and the expires at is going to change. Okay, all right, so that is going to undo possible conflict for us. Okay, so now we need to provide all these parameters. Okay, so the user ID, we are going to be getting it from the user that we fetched at this point. That is going to be user, right? So it's going to be user dot ID. Okay, the email is also going to be use. Okay, okay, we are not, so we are just going to use the validated email. Okay, validated email. The token is going to be the token that we generated. All right, this is going to create the entry into our database. The verification token will be saved into our database at this point, and after that we need to send the verification, we need to resend the verification message to our user's email. Okay, so let's create a confirmation link. All right, so let's say const confirm. Okay, let's call it confirm link. Okay, so it's going to be template literal. We are first going to get the base URL. All right, so we have a base URL. Then I'm going to direct it to the verify email page. Verify email. Okay, and the token, all right, is going to be a newly created token. Okay, that is going to be a confirmation link. Now we need to send the email. Okay, so we are going to be importing transporter, the transporter we created, the email transporter we created dot send mail. Okay, so this one is expecting the from, that is the sender of the email. Okay, so we're going to have env. I hope we've actually imported our env. Okay, so env dot, that's going to be smtp user. All right, that's our own personal email address. Then two, that is going to be the recipient of our email. Okay, so that is going to be validated email. Okay, the validated user's email. All right, and then the subject is going to be resend verification from our email templates. We already have that object in our email template. If we check the email template, okay, this is it. This one is for new sign up. All right, we also have another for resend. This is for password reset if the user forgot their password, and then this is for resend verification. Okay, so they are all different email. We are going to be getting a subject from there. We need to get the text. Okay, we also need to get it from there. Resend verification. Okay, dot text, because it's an object, and this is expecting the confirmation link. Okay, now we need to provide the HTML attributes. This is going to be HTML. Okay, then we're going to have resend verification .html. We also need to provide the confirmation link. Okay, this is SMTP user. All right, what else is giving us error? This is giving us error. Okay, that is the only thing that is giving us error right now. If the email is successful, then we need to return a success message to our user rather than retyping that, and just use this. Okay, so we are returning success to be true, and the verification email is sent successfully. All right, now possibly there is something that went wrong when we were doing any of these async actions. Then we need to catch that error at this point. Okay, so we're going to console the error just for a development purpose. Then we are going to say error resending verification. Should we say email or mail? Whatever you prefer to use. Let's log the error. Okay, then we're going to return a false response to our user that an error occurred when we were trying to send the email. So success is going to be a false. All right, and the message is going to be failed to resend. Failed to resend verification email. Okay, now we are good with our server action. So now we need to go and test out our work. All right, but first off, we need to have an account that has not been verified. So I'm just going to go to my database. I'm going to delete my accounts. Okay, let me delete it at this point so that we're going to recreate another account. Let's go to sign up. We've not dealt with signing in. Okay, so my name is this, my email address is this. Okay, all right, I'm not sure. Okay, that's actually the same. So let's see. Okay, now we have a new sign up. If I check my mail now, okay, I'm supposed to have that. All right, so we have a new verification mail, but I'm not going to verify my mail now. If I click on this, it's going to verify my account, but I'm not going to click on that. To test our resend verification, I'm going to try to re-sign up with the same email address. Okay, now I'm going to provide password and the password. Okay, so we are supposed to be redirected to this page. You can see this now. So you see we have type to be signed up and we have the email address, which is my email address. So it's telling me that the email is already registered but not verified yet. So verify your email request for a new verification link. I can still use this because it is still within the validity period. All right, so I can request. Let's assume that it has expired, or maybe I mistakenly deleted the email, so I can request for a new email. Okay, all right, you see verification email is sent successfully and I was directed to the sign in page. So I can go check my email now. There should be a new one. All right, so I have a new email. Okay, so now that we have a new email, if you use the previous one, it will not be valid again, because at this point, okay, where is it? Okay, at this point we checked if if there is a conflict. That means if there was an existing entry with this user ID. Okay, so at that point when there was a conflict, we updated the token, so the previous token is no longer valid. All right, so let's test that out. I'm going to first use the previous email. Okay, let me use this. I'm going to verify now. You can see valid or expired verification link. Okay, now let me use the most recent one. All right, if I use this now, my email should now be verified. You see how fast it is. Okay, so now I can continue to sign in. If I check my database now, or let me refresh my database. Okay, so let's check our email verified. You can see my email is now verified. All right, so that will be all for this video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will be seeing you in the next one.